Part 2 of our coast trip began in late July. Our original plan was to travel north in the interior valley and visit Silver Falls State Park. However, the triple-digit temperatures quickly changed our minds and we headed straight for the coast without any reservations. We stopped at Bluebell Campground. It's a primitive campground managed by the Siuslaw Forestry Department. They do require reservations. However, you can usually just show up and make a reservation while you're there. We decided to try our luck at casino lot docking, and we stayed one night at Chinook Winds in Lincoln City. Our goal was to reach Stubbs Stewart State Park and ride the 21-mile Rails to Trails bike path from Banks, Oregon to Vernonia. And of course, Skip gets to ride along in his little bike cart. He seems to really enjoy the rides. And of course, Skip makes friends along the way, especially when they give him treats. Our next stop is Fort Stevens State Park, where my daughter and two granddaughters joined us for some camping fun. Not only does it have miles of bike trails throughout the park, the wildlife and the views were just amazing. History buffs will enjoy the military museum and artifacts. The original fort was built in 1865. However, its notoriety came in World War II when on June 21, 1942, a Japanese sub fired a 5.5-inch shell at the fort. There was no return fire and no damage sustained. If the tides allow, be sure to check out the wreck of the Peter Irondale from 1906. Astoria is close by. My favorite place to visit is the Columbia River Maritime Museum, where you can learn so much about the infamous Columbia River. The Astoria Column is another must-see, built in 1926 to rival the Eiffel Tower. The Lewis and Clark Fort and Fort Clatsop are also among my favorites. Next, we crossed over the Astoria-Megler Bridge into Washington State. If you're a fan of tall, long bridges, you'll really enjoy this one. If not, you might want to let someone else drive and just keep your eyes closed till you get to the other side. Our next camping location was at Cape Disappointment. This is a very, very popular campground, and we had to move sites 3 times in the 3 days that we were there, but it was well worth it. We ended up riding our bikes on the beach, and then we discovered the 8.5-mile Discovery Trail that begins in the town of Elwako and ends in Long Beach. Be sure to visit both lighthouses while you're there. just so happened to be a kite flying festival going on the weekend that we were there. Soon we were leaving Washington and heading back down south on the Oregon coast. Our next stop was Nehalem Bay State Park. My cousin and her husband camped with us on this stop, and we were joined by some other family members as well. It was a nice surprise.
Do you have your phone on?
We really wanted to try as many of the state campgrounds as we could manage to find reservations for. We particularly liked traveling along the 3 Cape Highway. We stayed at Cape Lookout State Park and visited Cape Mears to the north, most notably known for its octopus tree, a 250 to 300-year-old Sitka spruce, the Cape Kiwanis State Park natural area to the north, and there were so many lighthouses to see along the way.
Perfect roasted marshmallow.
The next stop was Sand Beach OHV Campground in Sand Lake, Oregon. Not to be confused with Sand Lake Campground in Michigan. Yes, we did that. Lucky for us, a large family group camping had an extra site, and with their big rigs, they couldn't fit into it. Our van was a perfect fit, and they even treated us to some homemade, delicious Marionberry pie. Our next stop was at the Yaquina Head Lighthouse, also known as the Cape Foulweather Lighthouse, located at the mouth of the Yaquina River near Newport. There's also a 100-acre outstanding natural area managed by the BLM. be sure to stop at the visitors area, full of a lot of information about the lighthouse. Newport is full of attractions for anyone. Nye Beach is a must-see. It's quite the artsy community. We also stopped at the South Beach Fish Market. They claim to have the best fish and chips on the West Coast. I have to say, I've had better. The Oregon Coast Aquarium is a wonderful place to visit. I used to take the kids here when they were little. It was nice to come back as an adult and explore things at our own pace. We were told by locals that we needed to check out the Rogue Brewery in Newport, and I have to say, they had the best deep-fried cheese curds. They were amazing. Watts had a flight of beer and a dead guy burger complete with a black bun. We camped at South Beach while we were in the Newport area, and I have to say, it's not my favorite campground. It's very busy. Our 12th campground of the trip was Cape Perpetua, part of the Siuslaw National Forest. These are primitive campsites with very limited facilities, but just what we wanted after spending several days in a very busy state park. The campground is centrally located to many of the popular attractions in this area, such as the Devil's Churn, Cape Cove Beach, tide pools, Thor's Well, Cook's Chasm, and Spouting Horn. Be sure to stop at the visitor center to get all the information. There are plenty of hiking trails as well. I would be sure to do as many as you can. It's just a short walk from the campground, and you'll find the giant and oldest spruce. They estimate this tree to be 550 years old. While staying at Cape Perpetua campground, we love to go to Bob Creek Wayside. It's one of our favorite beach access pull-offs. It's only a few miles north of the Cape Perpetua campground. If the tide is low, there are so many tide pools full of sea anemones, starfish, and small crabs. And if you're lucky, you can find agates as well. We enjoyed the views while we had our morning coffee. Good boy! Our next stop was at Carl Washburn State Park. Interesting, the campground is on the east side of Highway 101 and the day use area and beach access is on the west side. There's a fun little trail that'll take you down to the beach, and it never seems to be very busy there, so it's always a nice place to be able to let the dog run around and have some dog fun. While camping at Carl Washburn, we drove a little bit south down to the Hasita Head Lighthouse day use area. Again, it was a day that we could just park the van and hike up to the lighthouse, spend some time at the beach, and just enjoy the views and all of the splendor of watching the ocean. The last campground of this trip was at Bullard's Beach. This is near the town of Bandon. There is the Coquille Lighthouse. There is some biking in the area, well, roads that you can ride your bikes on and go into town if you would like. The town of Bandon is just a few miles south down the road. It has the most amazing beaches on the Oregon coast. The wind was blowing that day, and it's always interesting to see the patterns of the sand while the wind blows. This is also one of my favorite places to watch the sunset over Face Rock. Thanks for watching.